Am I too old for this? Like, should I really be out here watching these damn cartoons? I really didn't think I'd be vibing with the show with some elementary school kids figure skating. Death Note is not the mature anime your nostalgic brain thinks it is. Welcome to the Anime Dojo, the spot to geek out on some Japanese cartoons. I'm your host, Sensei Cash, and I'm here to help y'all navigate that wonderful world of anime. Alright, y'all, let's keep it a buck. There comes a time in every anime fan's life. Maybe it happens in the middle of one of your countless rewatches of Naruto, or it happens when you find yourself arguing with some random degenerate on Reddit about why your waifu clears theirs. When you stop, look around, and realize you're surrounded by a whole lot of dusty-ass figurines, some questionably salacious posters, and that one suspiciously large body pillow chilling in the corner, looking like it's seen more action than past week than you've had all year. And boom, that's when it hits you. Am I too old for this? Like, should I really be out here watching these damn cartoons while my friends are out there getting married, having babies, and pretending to understand the geopolitical ramifications of these goddamn tariffs? Cue in the existential weeb crisis hitting you harder than Truck Kun in a mid-tier isekai. I mean, one moment you're just chilling, vibing with your favorite shonen protagonist, screaming at the top of your lungs trying to go Super Saiyan, and the next, you start side-eyeing plot holes, cringing at the over-top dialogue, and low-key starting to judge how young your newest waifu looks. FYI, probably way too young. But hey, before you start tweaking now, due to some unsolicited self-reflection, let your boy put you onto something. Here's the deal, my weebs. You don't gotta quit anime just because you're not a kid anymore. Nah, fam, that ain't it. See, what happens is, as you get older, the things that used to hype you up back in the day just don't hit the same. It's not your fault. It's just a natural progression of brain chemistry. A psychological phenomenon called anhedonia. Essentially, your brain's way of telling you, congrats, bro, you're one step closer to the grave. But that doesn't mean you gotta cancel your Crunchyroll subscription and delete your internet history. Okay, wait, maybe your internet history? Because we both know the stuff you got on there is questionable at best. But that's besides the point. See, what you gotta do is level up your game. And that's where seinen anime comes in. Now, if shonen is that hyperactive kid who won't shut up about the power of friendship and tournament arcs, then seinen is that mysterious dude who shows up late to the party wearing a leather jacket in 90-degree weather and casually dropping Nietzsche quotes in between bong hits. This is anime for a more mature crowd who realize that life ain't all about becoming the Hokage or saving the world by believing in yourself hard enough. Nah, fam, it's much darker than that. Life can be complicated, it can be messy, and sometimes downright depressing. And seinen anime absolutely gets that. We're talking psychological warfare that'll make your brain melt, morally gray badasses who ain't afraid to get their hands dirty, and enough trauma to leave your therapist to have nightmares for days. And for those y'all feeling a little bit too old for anime these days, it might be the breath of fresh air you were looking for. Like finding a $20 bill in your winter coat. Just enough to buy you an overpriced latte, but not enough to fix your psychological dread. So, to help y'all level up, today in the dojo we'll check out what I think is one of the coolest seinen anime out there. Studio Bones' Bungo Stray Dogs. Now picture this. A squad of super powered detectives, all named after famous authors, because why not? Solving crimes, throwing hands with the mafia, and dropping philosophical quotes like they're trying to win a Pulitzer. Oh, and there's this one dude who turns into a giant tiger whenever he gets stressed out, because apparently that's just a Tuesday afternoon in this universe. Real talk though. This show, it's a vibe. It got dope action, compelling drama, and enough angst to make you remember your middle school emo days and fall in love with anime all over again. But hold on, before we dive into the deep end, we got them business to handle. See, here in the dojo, we're on a mission. A quest, you can say. A straight up odyssey to watch every single anime ever created. Yeah, I said it. Ever. From the GOAT classics to the straight to the Crunchyroll bottom of the barrel joints that make you question sanity itself. And to make this dream a reality, every session will pick a random anime, watch the first 3 episodes, and come back to figure out whether it's a must-watch masterpiece or a dumpster fire that deserves to be yeeted straight into the sun. Why 3 episodes? Well, because 1's just a teaser, 2 is a vibe check, but 3 is where the sauce is. That's when the show either sucks you in like a black hole or leaves you wondering why you wasted 90 minutes of your life. This way, we sift through the trash, find the treasure, and get one step close to our ultimate goal. So with that said, let's get into it. For this week's Randy Anime of the Week, we give a shout to Studio NG's Medalist. Now this shows what happens if you take Rocky Balboa and throw him into the world of Yuri on Ice. But somehow, with more emotional gut punches and a lot less glitter. The story is a classic underdog grind. The heartwarming journey of our heroes trying to overcome their inner demons to reach the top of the figure skating world. Now, I know what y'all thinking, but bear with me, because when one of those underdogs is as a depressed 11-year-old girl, the emotional roller coaster sort of builds itself. Released in winter 2025 with 13 episodes, and based on the manga of the same name, Medalist came out swinging with a solid 8.38 on MAL, which I gotta say is pretty impressive, considering it's been banished to the anime streaming shadow realm known as Disney+. Yeah, Disney+, the same place where you go binge watch all those Disney princess movies when you think no one is watching. So, as far as plot, the show follows our main man Tsukasa, a 20-something year old washed-up figure skater who's always dreamed of becoming a big-time pro, but started way too late in life to actually get there. Now, barely scraping by, Tsukasa finds himself at his local ice rink, regretfully looking for a coaching job. While waiting around for his interview, Tsukasa notices a sheepish little girl sneaking around like she's up to no good, which immediately set him off. Still pretty salty over his own past struggles to get ring time and equipment, Tsukasa, in a moment of rage, embraced his inner Karen and decides to set this little girl straight. He goes full mall cop, chasing this kid around like she owes him some money, ready to unload years of pain and bitterness on this poor child. Turns out, this little gremlin is her other main protagonist, Inori, an 11-year-old with dreams bigger than her entire body and a work ethic to put your annual 3-week, new year, new me gym membership to shame. See, Inori is also obsessed with figure skating and dreams of making it to the Olympics one day. But because of a mixture of fear, self-doubt, and a sprinkle of family trauma, she hasn't really been able to pursue her dreams. Instead, she spends most of her time studying techniques through textbooks and collecting critters to trade in for ring time. Girls out here running an underground bait shop hustle on the side just to rent some damn skates. Seeing a bit of his past self in her, Tsukasa, hoping that she doesn't make the same mistakes that he did, urges Inori to overcome whatever is holding her back and just go for it. Since from his perspective, failing to try is a whole lot more painful than actually failing. And this plea from a completely random stranger seemed to have worked, since the next day Inori showed up at the ice rink with her mom ready to skate, which in turn inspired our boy so much that he decided to throw away his ego and give coaching a shot just to help this little girl reach her dreams. And from there, it's go time. The duo starts their journey to conquer the figure skating world, and real talk, bro, I'm about it. Tsukasa, he's basically millennial burnout personified. He's tired, jaded, and low-key needs a hug, a nap, and maybe a therapist. But underneath all that angst seems to be a coach who generally cares about his students. He gives major girl dad energy. Then we got Inori, a tiny ball of sunshine with a backbone of steel that you just want to protect from all the bad things in the world. Her self-doubt is pretty loud, her technique is very green, but her drive, bro, it's insane. Her energy is so infectious, it makes you want to actually get off the couch and do something with your life. Until you remember, you get winded just going up the stairs. Now let me be real with you. This show definitely caught me off guard. I really didn't think I'd be vibing with the show with some elementary school kids figure skating. Not really my cup of tea. But real talk, I gotta say, I was pleasantly surprised. What Medalist excels at is his realness. This show just doesn't tell you that people are struggling. It shows you in quiet, painful details. It showcases deep psychological trauma and emotional situations in a really direct and compelling way that you wouldn't expect from a show with a cast of mainly children. And then there's the animation. Bruh, the attention to detail is insane. Every movement, every expression, every bead of sweat felt intentional. Every jump, every spin was fluid and seemed to be grounded in some sense of realism. Like there's weight to the movement. You can feel when Inori's off balance or pushing too hard. You can see the tension in her face and the panic in her breath. And the sound of skates hitting the ice? Bruh, peak ASMR. Every detail was amplified, from the scraping of the blades to the subtle shifts in music. It felt immersive in the best way possible, kind of like you're right on the ice with them. And the musical score, honestly, feels like something straight out of a 90s sports drama. Epic, moody, motivational. It underscored the emotions of the show without overwhelming, which matches the tone of the show perfectly. 3 episodes in, and I'm already invested like I'm watching my hometown team lose after a miracle run in the playoffs. But real talk though, here's where Medalist truly earns his gold medal. Zero creep factor. You would think an anime about a grown-ass man coaching a preteen would dip into a few uncomfortable tropes. But nah fam, not here. No grooming, no fan service, no oops she fell on him moments. The show just makes a ton of smart decisions that separate it from other animes with the same setup. It doesn't sexualize the young characters, it avoids romanticizing the mentor-mentee relationship, it doesn't even glamorize suffering or turn drama into a spectacle, nor does it genderize a sport. No one's out here trying to say ice skate's too girly or treating Inori like she's some fragile little flower. Everything in this show just felt grounded. So to bring it all together, Medalist is one of those shows that sneaks up on you. You would think it's about figure skating, but nah. It's about failure. It's about recovery. It's about dragging yourself through hell and back with just enough hope to try again tomorrow. It's heartfelt, it's inspiring, and it's got enough underdog energy to power a small city. Honestly, bro, if you're not rooting for Tsukasa and Inori by the end of episode 3, all I can say is, who hurt you, bro? And yes, it's not all sunshine and rainbow. The pacing of the show is questionable at best. A bit too fast-paced to really let the story breathe. And the characters, outside our 2 main, do lack some significant development. But frankly, I think those issues are somewhat excusable, at least for the first 3 episodes. Especially since the thematic tones and the main character development is so strong. So if you like stories with emotional depth and maturity, this show is right up your alley. If you're a fan of shows like Haikyuu or Slam Dunk, this show will give you some similar vibes. And if you just like some really good animation, this show has you covered too. Think thinking about it, I would probably recommend this show to any anime fan looking for something a bit different from the mainstream battle stuff. Honestly, I can't wait to watch the rest of it and see if it continues its momentum. So far, based on the first 3 episodes, this show's a definite keeper. Plus, it's a seinen, so it kind of fits the vibe of today's session. And it really shows you the versatility of this demographic. But what do y'all think? Check it out and let me know. Was I right? Chances are, I probably am.
Hold it right there, weebs and weebettes. Now, I know y'all enjoying this fire anime content, but I need y'all to do your boy a solid. If you're liking what you're hearing and you're liking what you're seeing, let your boy know. Speak your truth and leave a comment down below. And if you haven't already done so, join the squad by hitting that subscribe button and help the dojo take over the weed wide world. Now, with that PSA out of the way, let's get back into this weeb talk here.
So I'm imagining some of y'all probably thinking to yourself, bruh, why is this dude acting like seinen in some next level evolution of anime? Ain't it just shonen but with the darker color palette? Which, in all fairness, I understand. Shonen ain't all peaches and cream. I mean, Naruto had abandonment issues before it was cool. One Piece basically took racism and said, what if we had fish? And Bleach, bruh, that show was like 30% internal monologue, 70% filler, and 100% grayscale. And yeah, Death Note made us all feel smart for like 5 minutes until we all realized that Light was just an honor roll student with a god complex and no bedtime. But here's the deal, my weeb. No matter how similar the two may be, shonen and seinen aren't twins of each other. Think of them more like distant cousins who went down different paths in life. One went down the path trying to become the Hokage, while the other is just trying to make rent and not cry in public, which frankly is easier said than done. See, here's a cold hard truth, my weebs. It ain't about how dark or edgy a show is. Nah, fam. It's about who the dang thing was made for. See, at the end of the day, the anime and manga industry are a business. Like any business, primary objective is to secure the biggest bag possible. I mean, publishers and studios aren't just randomly throwing darts at a board. They're strategically targeting audiences to maximize their profits. Shonen, it's geared towards a younger audience with more childlike tendencies. It's anime with the emotional depth of a fortune cookie, but the budget of a Marvel blockbuster. It's hype, it's flashy, it's full of believe in yourself speeches and power-ups with a complimentary tragic flashback. And even when it tries to get dark, it still kind of feels like it's selling you a motivational poster. I mean, yeah, Attack on Titan had a fair amount of existential dread, but let's be real. It's still yelling in your face while doing backflip. Now, don't get it twisted. Shonen anime is dope. Some of my favorite anime happen to be shonen. I'm talking Fullmetal Alchemist, Fairy Tail, Black Clover, but let's not pretend they're not just Saturday morning cartoon vibes with the occasional blood splatter. Now, seinen, on the other hand, that's a whole different beast. Geared towards a more mature audience with more adult-like sensibilities. This is anime for people who've paid bills, survived heartbreak on pointless dating apps, and have seen at least 3 friendships break up because of group text drama. It's slower, it's meaner, it doesn't care about your feelings. We're talking Berserk, where trauma isn't just a subplot, it's the entire show. Or Monster, where every episode feels like a TED Talk on why humans are the worst. These are shows that will spend 12 episodes building up a character, make you fall in love with them, and then randomly murk them in a parking garage while playing lo-fi music in the background. Shows that are messier, realer, and leave you staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. in the morning questioning life, and yet still asking for more. And if I may take a moment to demystify your childhood memories, on the topic of Death Note, my friends, I hate to break it to y'all, now I'm fronting, I love this part. Death Note is not the mature anime your nostalgic brain thinks it is. Yes, it's a bit dark. Yes, it's got more dead people than a Game of Thrones wedding, but my weed, it ran in Weekly Shonen Jump, the same magazine that brought you Naruto, Bleach, One Piece. No matter how many philosophical debates Light and L have, it's still shonen, aimed at teenage boys who think wearing all black and yelling at their mom makes them deep. Now don't get it twisted. Death Note, it does slap. I'm not saying it doesn't, so don't come at me with that. But let's be real. Light's whole god skit, peak teenage angst. And the way L figures out who Kira is by realizing his sense of justice is just a childish fever dream. Is Death Note edgier than most shonen? Yeah, that can't be denied. But think of it more as a gateway anime rather than a maturity standard. Like that edgy bridge between the WB's weekend block and Toonami's late night block. If you know, you know. But still, why does any of this matter? Well, if you're sitting there feeling too old for anime, but still can't quit it, like your addiction to high fructose corn syrup that makes you inhale Twinkies like they Tic Tacs, then seinen anime might be your lifeline. But it probably can't help you with the battle against type 2 diabetes. It can help you find new shows and stories that may better fit your aging taste. Think of it like a nicotine patch for your inner weave. Same old hit, but just in a more efficient and less destructive way. And bonus points, your waifu might actually be of legal age this time. But no promises, that's between you and God. And that brings us to Bungo Straight Up, a show truly for all those gifted kids in high school who grew up as depressed adults. Short of a chaotic love story to authors with trauma, this show hits harder than a Russian slapboxing tournament. Imagine Rush Hour, but with supernatural abilities, emotional baggage, and existential dread. Jackie Chan is a different type of suicidal genius in a trench coat. Chris Tucker is literally a tiger boy with a martyr complex, and everyone's power is named after dead authors. Sounds a bit unhinged, right? I know, but that's what makes it dope. Based on Kafka Asagira's popular manga of the same name, Studio Bones' adaptation of Bungo Stray Dogs took center stage in spring of 2016 with 12 episodes of pretty impressive world building, some charismatic nihilists, and plot twists that will cause your brain to overheat. 5 seasons, a movie, an OVA special, and even a chibi spin-off series, this show is effectively in cult classic territory. Sure, it's not setting at the My Hero Academia or Demon Slayer lunch tape, but it's definitely giving the cool kid cutting gym class and debating the meaning of life behind the bleachers vibes. One of the most successful and popular series in its time, even if some of y'all never heard of it, the show over the course of its run racked up a cumulative mouse score of 8.25, which only gets higher as time passes, the fandom grows, and more seasons come out. But I'll be honest, at face value, I don't think this show passes a 3-episode test. The plot is a bit convoluted and can be chaotic at best. It starts slow, takes detours, and sometimes just vibes. But believe me, nothing is wasted in this show. This is one of those shows that has a throwaway line in episode 2 that punches you in your soul by episode 25. Like Fullmetal Alchemist and One Piece, it really rewards the real ones who stay locked in. On top of that, the show gives you one of the most compelling and lovable cast of characters in any anime. Hero or villain, almost every character is given room to breathe and layers of development that drive the narrative forward. Add in some of the best, but admittedly cringy, dark humor, mixed in with that crispy animation, and one of the most hyped musical scores anywhere. Bungo Stray Dogs has not only built its reputation as one of the best anime in modern times, but honestly, deserves it. At its core, the story follows our sad boy, Atsushi, a dude whose entire personality is I apologize for existing. An orphan used to being kicked around by life, a boy is cursed with the ability to become a mystical white tiger whenever he's stressed, which given his life circumstances, is basically all the time. Real talk, if anxiety was a superpower, he'd be Goku. After getting kicked out of an orphanage, yeah, let that settle in. This dude's life sucked so hard an orphanage kicked him out. That's like getting fired from volunteering. Atsushi found himself starving on the streets when he was conveniently and arguably forcibly recruited by the Armed Detective Agency, a ragtag group of ability users who solve supernatural cases too dangerous for regular law enforcement. Think X-Men, but everyone's pretty much a liability, and surprisingly, there's a lot less racism. Things get messy pretty fast though when the agency clashes with the Port Mafia, a group so endearing and chaotic you almost forget they were supposed to be the bad guys. And if that wasn't enough, there's also secret government factions, underground terrorists, and enough betrayal to give the cast of Love Island a run for their money. Honestly, the genius in Bungo Stray Dogs lives in his bones. Not your typical superhuman mystery thriller, Bungo Stray Dogs is a world where literary legends come to life, but not as stuffy intellectuals, but as smug, broken, and somewhat problematic ability users brawling in back alleys and boardrooms. Every character is based off a real-life author, and their powers are directly inspired by the author's work. Dazai is no longer human? That's the title of the real Dazai's most depressing book. Akutagawa's Rashomon? Same deal. He literally weaponizes despair. Even Edgar Allan Poe is here, looking like an emo raccoon, solving murders by writing people into saw-like puzzles. And let's not forget, my favorite, F. Scott Fitzgerald, who shows up with a power that makes him stronger the more money he spends. Man deadass turned late-stage capitalism into a combat stat. Real talk though, this show is effectively a grad school thesis disguised as fan service for book nerds with deep literary Easter eggs stacked on type of psychological profile. One moment you're laughing at Dazai's latest Please Let Me Die scheme. The next you're googling Japanese poetry while silently crying. Honestly, this clever integration of literature adds layers of depth to the characters in a pretty efficient way. Like there's no wasted time on long drawn out backstories because the motivation and the actions of the characters sort of fall within the framework of the literary inspiration, which helps you understand the characters and relate to them much quicker, especially if you're a well-read weeb. Like when you're introduced to a character like Nathaniel Hawthorne, you kind of already know what to expect, especially if you've been subjected to the American education's fixation on the Scarlet Letter. Plus, since the power system is effectively based on the literary references, you don't sit there questioning how things work. Instead, you're awed at the creative and diverse fighting styles. I mean, a dude using a Matrix-like digital mirage to hide a speeding truck to take out the bad guy doesn't need to make sense because it's pretty freaking hype. On top of that, the show walks this wild line between serious and absurd. One minute you're watching a deeply philosophical conversation about whether a person can be redeemed, and the next you're watching Dazai stage a fake suicide attempt because the local diner ran out of his favorite tea. It's like if Neon Genesis and Brooklyn Nine-Nine had a baby and abandoned it in Yokohama and said, good luck kid. But in my opinion, the key feature of Bungo Stray Dogs is a parody between good and evil. Yokohama's streets blur the line between savior and sinner. The Port Mafia's stylish shoots are cut from the same cloth as the agency's heroes. The difference is one side gave up on daylight and the other is still looking for it, even though it's well past midnight for most. Every character carries their own cross. Our best boy Dazai drapes his in bandages and suicide jokes, masking the hollowed out man beneath. Across from him stands edgelord Akutagawa, convinced that strength alone can justify his existence. And between them, stumbles in our protagonist sad boy Atsushi, the living question, can someone truly damned be redeemed? See, Yokohama's underworld is essentially an asylum for wandering souls and broken people. Kurikita clings to ideals like lifelines, Rampo hides his loneliness behind the facade of childish arrogance, even Fitzgerald, with his American Gilded Empire, is just another man trying to outrun his failures. Yet, for all the philosophical weight, the show never forgets to let the characters breathe. What begins as a battle between gifted individuals becomes something grander. Broken people from all sides putting themselves back together and finding a place in the world. The agency's office, with its mismatched chairs and its endless bickering, stands as a defiant answer to the depressing nihilism of the human condition. Yes, the world is cruel. Yes, we are flawed, but we will keep choosing each other anyway and going to the next day. That's the central message of the show, and it's executed amazingly. And what helps translate such a powerful message? Some fire animation. Y'all know Studio Bones does not play when it comes to animation. Mob Psycho 100, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, My Hero Academia, these dudes never miss, and Bungo Stray Dogs is no exception. The animation is crispy, the character design clean, the fights chaotic beauty. We're talking about high octane, ability clashing brawls that hit harder than the realization your favorite villain might actually be right. I mean, I'm talking about full Sakuga demon mode here, my weeps. The fights aren't just cool, they're borderline religious experiences. You ever seen two bullets collide mid-air while jazz music plays in the background and both characters monologue about war, grief, and the human condition? No? Then watch Oda vs. Guide. You'll cry, then scream out of sheer hype. Frankly, if you only need one reason to watch this show, it's this fight. And the music? Good God, the music. Every opening and ending theme is a certified banger. Listen to Reasons Living by Screen Mode and tell me you're not hyped. I played that joint on repeat for weeks, and now I can bench press the weight of my clinical depression. These songs just don't slap, they resonate. I promise you, you'll be in your car pretending to be a tortured anime boy on your way to Trader Joe's. Believe me, it's inevitable. But beyond the animation, the plot twist, the god tier soundtrack, and the sexy nihilists, Bungo Stray Dogs is a story about broken people trying to build something good, about found family, about redemption, and about how maybe, just maybe, you can still choose to do the right thing, even if you've done a lot of very wrong things while dramatically staring into the rain. It's not some cerebral mind melter either, no matter how hard it tries to be. But it's smart, and weird, and funny, and sad, and beautiful, and just human in the most unhinged, poetic, goth, literary anime way possible. And that's what makes Bungo Stray Dogs such a great introduction to seinen anime. It uppercuts you in the gut with some pretty heavy themes, but it balances the intensity perfectly by throwing in some traditional anime flair. You'll fall in love with the characters and really find yourself immersed in the world. The fights will give you that I can take on anyone energy, just like when you leave a movie theater after watching a kick-ass action flick, and the despair of the characters will probably make a lot of you feel seen. And frankly, that's just the power of really good anime. But I want to know what y'all think. Give Bungo Stray Dogs a try, and let me know if y'all once again feel that passion for anime. And if y'all got some recommendations for some other seinen anime we should try, let me know in the comments and we may check it out for a future session. And of course, like, comment, and subscribe for some more fire anime content. And with that, thank y'all for making your way down to the dojo. See y'all next time, and stay weepy, my friends.